Hi guys, Shimbo with the one for an I, and we are back once again for another MPL breakdown. This time, discussing a topic of how do you break, no? Paano mo sisirain ang isang spirito ng isang team? How do you break a team's spirit? Now, make no mistake, no? Actually, hindi ganun kadali mang-break ng spirit ng isang team, no? There are actually two things that usually breaks a team. Napakadalas yan, especially kung pro team ka. One is basically losses, no? Pagkatalo sa mga laro because they've been experiencing it like on a daily basis. So, in terms of quantity, maraming instances na makakaramdam ka ng pagkatalo. And there are personal matters, no? So, personal matters, sila naman yung quality. Kumbaga, hindi sila lagi nararanasan ng mga pro teams, ng mga pro players, but when they happen, they hit hard, no? Sobrang impacting talaga to the point that, yeah, it pushes some players to stop playing. Anyway, here is one sample that I will show you, which is the NXP versus Aura-PH, wherein you can visibly see kung paano nasira ang isang team spirit, yung parang naapektuhan talaga sa talo. At makikita yun sa paglalaro. So, wag na natin patagalin, ladies and gentlemen. First up, let's get into our screen. And of course, naglaban nga, no, yung NXP versus Aura in MPL Week 3, Day 2. And this is after the loss of NXP mula dun sa execration. Makikita mo yung stats dito, guys, na talagang mas mataas ang stats overall and generally by NXP against execration. Even with the loss against execration, actually yung panalo na execration sa NXP, walang magiging masyadong mabigat na epekto yun sa stats ng NXP because NXP was winning the game number 3 against execration. So, hindi to sorpresa, sa totoo lang, hindi to sorpresa para saan. At ito nga yung sinasabi kong stats kung bakit nga rin ako bumuboto sa NXP nung naglaban sila ng execration. So maganda. Pwede mong sabihin, honestly, na liamado ang NXP dito in terms of stats. Kahit sabihin natin na yung Aura-PH ay isang back-to-back champion team, no? Pero the thing about Aura-PH at this point is because they've been seeing some lackluster games, may mga laban silang natatalo, especially with Bren. It looks like yung Aura naman ay mas nagiging mas seryoso na sa approach nila sa mga laro, no? Parang bumabalik yung dating form ng Aura. So, punta muna tayo ngayon, syempre, doon sa mga featured matchup. One would be of the Renegade and Kiluwash matchup, no? So, let me just share it to you. And the Renegade and Kiluwash matchup. So, this is actually very interesting. Pag tiningnan mo rin to, guys, na mas lamang si Renegade in terms of stats kumpara kay Kiluwash. He sits at 14th place in the KDA. Ang layo nung kay Kiluwash. That is actually 41st, no? And relatively, yes, mataas yan na ranking ni Renegade, especially on the running KDA because that's total KDA of all the players in the regular season. Not to mention, mas maraming unique heroes si Renegade. Look at Kiluwash here. Kiluwash looks more pretty chill compared to Renegade. But you get my point here. Even on this head-to-head, liamado yung NXP. Here's another one. It is of a very interesting player matchup between Raflisha and H2. Na talaga namang ako, kahit ako ay na weirdohan din, no? This star player head-to-head, which is Raflisha versus H2, which is very, very weird for the matchup. I think this is done for novelty lang naman. Pero nakakatuwa din pag ito talaga yung kunumpara. Kasi here's the funniest part here. Raflisha is known for being such a troll, 'di ba? Nasa mukha niya, nasa character niya, and even in his playstyle, as he pioneered playing the Digi competitively, no? The Digi feed strategy competitively dito sa MPL Season 6. Tapos, pinantapat siya sa what I think is really, yes, the most consistent carry right now in the league, which is si H2. This guy here, itong si H2 dito, mga tol, no? Ayan, si H2 holds a lot of promise talaga. And even Doggy said himself na sobrang galing talaga ni H2. And even me, when I saw it, napaka-stable nga talaga ni H2. H2 has discipline. That's one. Kaya naman, alam mo yun, it's no surprise that he ranks as the number 1 pagdating dito sa KDA natin, mga tol, no? That's very high. That's 10.0. That signifies na hindi basta-basta na mamatay si H2 sa isang laro. And that he will make kills when it matters, no? Not to mention, napaka-reliable. Yun yung word talaga sa isang word. Napaka-reliable ni H2 dito. Pero look at how stable H2 is. MVP count, sobrang dami. That's no surprise for someone who has a lot of KDA. But look at the number of heroes he is using. That's around 5, no? Well, given, ayan din naman talaga yung parang total ng number ng carries na meron sa ating running meta. So you get the matchup. Guys, even the star player head-to-head, it's actually very weird. I really won't compare din si JP dito because even if you compare JP with H2, sa unang tapatan pa lang ng unang tapatan pa lang ng head-to-head, makakalamang din si H2 dito. So, ayan, mga kaibigan. The only thing that is like looming in para sa NXP dito is yung fact na natalo sila sa sa execration. Which is, alam mo yon, parang it's always the headline outside. And normally, mga ganitong bagay, dapat hindi naapektuhan yung paglalaro mo. But it seems, naapektuhan nga rin talaga yung NXP doon. And hindi pala it seems, I'm sure naapektuhan ng NXP doon. Because those kind of games, without a doubt, makakapekto talaga. It's pagalingan ng pagalingan yung mga players ngayon na hindi maapektuhan ng paglalaro nila, no? Ayun yung parang naging running trend. So, here's one reflection in my opinion of this, no? So, pakita natin ngayon yung pakita natin yung It Really Hurts dance segment. So, actually, habang nag-i-start yung game, we check out the NXP players, no? As they're actually ayan, they are actually dancing, ayan, sa kanilang player cameras. Makikita mo they're dancing the It Really Hurts. It's actually one of the unang posts ng ng NXP group. After they lost with execration, It Really Hurts. Makikita mo si Yawi talagang todo sayaw. It's all positive, all good vibes, mga kaibigan. Now, alam niyo naman tayo, nag-overthink tayo, 'di ba? So i-analyze natin 'to. There are actually two things when a pro team suffers a major loss, no? One is, it's either they try to cope up. They try to cope up and, alam mo yan, parang protect themselves on showing na affected talaga sila. Because, being a pro player, requirement ng isang pagiging pro player is keeping up with images eh. And it's part, no? It's part, pero hindi siya yung main core ng pro player. And from what I see here, yung It Really Hurts ng ng NXP dito, itong It Really Hurts na to ng NXP, that is a reflection of this, no? Because this is interesting. I mean, the headline, pag tiningnan mo, oh wow, natalo sila sa execration, pero sumasayaw sila, they feel really good, they feel really awesome, 'di ba? Pero I doubt, no? I mean, mas gusto ko sana kung na lang, parang talagang naramdaman yung talo ng isang team. Pero this could be another way of doing the second form of adaptation kapag natatalo ka. Ano yung ikalawang form? That would be of the reset. I-reset mo yung mindset mo. Maraming ways para mag-reset ng utak. Actually, yung pinaka-gusto ko, sorry no, ay matulog, magpahinga at kumain. Pero there are other ways. You can just joke around, fool around, hang out with your friends, 'di ba? Ayun, para ma-reset, para talaga makalimutan mo yung pagkatalo. Because I think that's more effective. Yung makalimutan mo yung pagkatalo nyo na matindi. You learn from, pakalimutan nyo muna, then you learn from it later. It's actually one of the techniques na ina-employ ng mga coach. Sometimes, kapag ang isang team ay galing sa isang talo, hindi mo na nila pinag-uusapan. They try to reset. They try to review it with a more and clear mind. So, again, may dalawa yan. It's either you try to block yourself, parang inaharangan mo o yung sarili mo, or ayaw mong ipakita na naapektuhan ka. And another one is, naapektuhan ka, pero hinanap mo, pinili mo kaagad kalimutan. No? Really find the reset. So, one thing is for sure here, this is totally a very happy NXP by game number 1 as even they enter Aura. So, yeah, that's all I want to say, no? Anyway, let me get back to you. Nothing special can be seen on the game 1 drop, sa totoo lang. It's very, very standard. And honestly, para sa akin, yamado ang NXP para sa running draft na to, in my opinion. Even though you could just only catch the thumbs and even the backsha with Atlas pick here, I feel na mas stable itong composition na to ng NXP because of the Claude. Kasi hindi natin masyado nakikita yung Claude at hindi na ganun talaga ka, alam mo yun, parang preferred yung Claude bilang main core. Napaka-risky niya. Pag nahila mo talaga yung Claude, may pagkaling din. Ang hirap niya mag-pop off. Pero pag nakarating sa late game, then all solid, then all good, no? Again, yung inherent squishiness lang talaga ng Claude. That's the thing. But this is where we got wrong, no? Dumating yung game number 1 and yeah, JP did pop off pagdating doon sa Claude. So, let's get into the game. Let me just share you some moments mula kay JP as he played the Claude here. And I would stick by my statement na this is still surprising, no? Nakakapanggulat pa rin talaga. Although this is JP we are talking about, I still think na maraming hindi nag-aakala nito. So, this is one of the first pop-off na magagaling mula kay JP. I think it actually came in here, no? Wherein Yawi face check and he got the stun mula kay Grid. So, let's do a quick pause from that one and slow-mo natin and let us play, no? So, there's JP. Now, here's what's so wise about JP here. Ang bilis niya. Ang bilis ng paggamit ng kanyang Blazing Duet, and he will actually go for a BMI here. Why? Bakit niya yan nakuha? It's because JP, Great Carries talaga, has a very nice sense of their environment. Alam niya na merong kali dito sa baba. Alam niya na yung X-Berg nandun sa may taas. And it's only just Yawi and H2 na nandito sa may pinakagitna. Even Chester is there, no? So, he went with the BMI. Not to mention na meron din naman siyang purification. So, yung mga pwedeng dumamage sa kanya kahit papano, lalo na yung Khalid, walang kaproblema para kay JP dito. And that's when he decided to dive in after the Blazing Duet. He went with the BMI, and he actually dive in. There we go. And this is where the first mistake of H2 comes in. Again, ako, personal opinion ko, hindi basta-basta nagkakamali si H2. He makes decisions when it is called for, when it really matters. And actually at this moment, pwede na mag-traceless si H2 dito. Even with the grid here, I would dare say, no? Kasi nagamit na ni grid yung isa niyang umbrella. And especially pwedeng suportahan ni Chesterton, even with roughly siya here, pwedeng pumalo pa rin si grid, and they want to face it. Pero I think ang call yata dito is to really pull back. But because Yawi is already hurt, 'di ba? It really hurts para kay Yawi. It's just that maganda sana sinabayan lang si H2 dito, pero I think H2 wants to be more safe then, 'di ba? Totally understandable. Now, let's see here, buwelo si JP, ibig sabihin, yun ang naging resulta. But look at that. If that is kung traceless to, tapos nag-glaive form si H2, mas mataas yung burst damage na pwedeng ibitaw kaya JP. That one I can dare say. Not to mention, ang binner ni JP is BMI forward. It's not a save BMI, so most likely it is in cooldown pa. So, ayan, let's get into that. JP will pop up. At hindi pa tapos yan, no? So, after JP got the kill, I think, yata dito? Siguro kay Chester yata, kung di ako nagkakamali. Let's go for the normal speed. There we go. Then, JP went down, no? Bumaba si JP at iniwanan si H2. When H2 decides to actually go for JP with the traceless, makikita mo si Grid, wala nang pwedeng iba to si Grid na ultimate. And this is where things get so exciting. Look at how JP did it. Nag-iwan siya ng BMI dito. That's his first BMI. And actually, upon leaving that BMI, no? Andun din at babatiin niya na si MB. Diba? Pasok si MB dito. He walked for a bit. And look at it. Look at this, no? So this is the full circle of MB's ultimate. And yeah, obviously, JP was able to escape. Yan. Halos kadikit niya na bago pa siya mataya with that BMI. And what JP did, inantay niya talaga makalapit si MB dito just to make sure he keeps maximum distance. He got maximum distance. And maybe he can opt out at lumayo. And that's so good. Ladies and gentlemen, MB was forced to regenerate and JP was able to get back dito kay H2. So, alam mo yan, masterful play by JP on that part. And look at JP here. He really lives his BMI. Look at the way he uses BMI. Iniiwan niya talaga dito. Just to make sure if ever someone escapes here, he can actually BMI back here, no? And now, if it's Rene J's turn, nakikita mo si Rene J liliko na dito. Ang ginawa ni JP, he will cut him here. 'Di ba? So that's how he does it. Actually, meron pa yan. Makikita niyo kung ano talaga yung mindset ni JP pagdating doon sa Claude. Right? Look at that. Yan. So, the moment na na-pop yung immortality dito ni Rene J, what JP did is nag-iwan kaagad siya ng BMI dito, no? Pero hindi niya nilipatan. Talagang andito lang habang kinakite niya si Claude dito. Just in case na abang kinakite niya si Rene J dito, no? Just in case na Rene J will be able to escape pa on this route, 'di ba? So yun ang mindset lagi ni JP on this Claude. Kung saan pupunta yung kalaban, may naka-reddit nakaabang na BMI. It's about placing the BMI. All right? So we continue that. Ayan, lumipat na lang si JP, and actually that provides him better escape then on that area. Not to mention he can bait other members on that part. So yung second pop off ni JP, papakita ko lang ulit sa inyo, is really very aggressive. It was done here. Alright. Ito naman yung second pop-up ni JP. So, what happened here is, nakita nila si Yawi, and nakita nilang nag-ult si Rene J dito. So, that's ult down for Rene J. Mawawala yung Piraga armor niya. At ang ganda ng timing ni JP dito. He just went all in to go for the dive towards Rene J. Knowing na yung Khalid andito sa may bandang baba. Knowing na nandito yung YSS. And Yawi, inunahan niya na lang si Yawi. I think he is confident that he has the purification on. That's why he can go all in with the Yawi. And yeah, that's what JP did. It's very, very aggressive. Very, very early. Tinamaan pa ng Torre dito si JP. It doesn't matter to him. Even H2, diba? Umaray si H2 dito. And yeah, hindi naman namatay. Hindi naman namatay si Renogy dito. The one that got punished is actually Yawi. And I'm not so sure. Parang medyo nawala na sa laro si Yawi dito. He was sitting at 0-4-3. And hindi ko na ipapakita ito sa breakdown natin. But Yawi has done a good amount of face check, no? So, di ko alam. I mean, Yawi is the one who's dancing earlier sa bago magsimula yung game. Pero I think he is the one who has lost focus na on this game. Then what we have would be third pop-up na ni JP. Papakita ko lang ulit sa inyo. It's somewhere here. Alright, it's somewhere here. It's already on the Lord push. And again, not much. Nothing really game-changing. Something that can be expected naman pagdating kay JP dito, mga tol. Ito na yung Lord Advance, no, ng NXP. So, makikita mong mindset dito, makikita mong mindset dito, ang setup dito para sa laban is that NXP has been, Aura has been pushing here, no? Makikita nyo yan. And, yeah, may mga kakaiba ditong parts mula sa NXP. First is of Rene J here. I'm very curious what he is doing here. This is his usual playstyle on the show. Ewan ko kung autopilot lang ba to, pero I'm very curious bakit nandito sa likod si Rene J. Does he want to duel up with the Cho? Isa ba yun? I mean, clearly, mas kailangan si Rene J sa areang to. Mas kailangan si Rene J sa areang to or dito, no? Although, that's a good position to actually make the cut just in case magsimula yung Lord. And siguro yun yung gusto ni Rene J. Pinapalipas niya lang tong minion na to para makapasok siya dito and, join the party when it happens for the Lord. So, they could do a pincer maneuver. One here and one here. Again, maganda pa rin lagi ang approach sa game ng NXP. Pero, yun din yung kinatataka ko. This is probably an old habit din. Kasi ginawa ng Aura PH, medyo memorize na nila yung playstyle ni Rene J. Lalo pa pag pinapanood mo yung NXP, medyo may expect mo na by the late game. Rene J loves hiding on these brushes. Ayan, yung mga back brushes na yan, dyan sa manggagaling. Lalo pa pag show yung gamit niya. Now, NXP is already advancing. For the most part, hindi na sila lumalabas ng base. Pero ngayon lang sila nag-attempt lumabas ng base because that is totally intuitive. Lalo pat pwede nang mag-lord yung Aura. So, here's what happened. Of course, standard formation, Rafflesia will be moving forward, no? Rafflesia will be moving forward for the face check. And yeah, upon the face check of Rafflesia, ang tapang ni JP. Alam niya na no? It's totally maybe an advance para makuha din yung buff or whatever, but that is still very, very aggressive. Yawi does what he can, no? He went for the perfect match, and Chester kahit pa paano survived for a bit on that part. But ayun, again, still with that fatal links, hindi pa rin tumama, and JP was able to make the kite. Sobrang bilis ni JP dito. Actually, let me repeat that in full speed. Tingnan nyo kung gaano ka-snappy yung play na yan. This is how snappy that play is. Ulitin natin, Just like that. Medyo nahuli yung camera, pero bam! So explosive mula dito kay JP. A clear manifestation of, like being a carry na sobrang nagpa-pop off talaga pagdating sa late game. And with that, no need to actually go for the Lord. They just went for the turrets here. That's actually the final, That's actually the final clash that, hindi pa to yung final dive. Pero, that's actually one of the game-defining clash na, alam mo yun, talaga nag-setup na panalo na yung oras sa laban na to. We have one final dive here for JP. And may pagka-novelty na lang yun. Pero I just want to emphasize talaga yung mga dives ni JP dito. And what sets him apart, from being a great carry to what can be called as a god carry ng laro. So, there you go. He went in, Naglagay siya ng minion wave dito sa may bandang taas. He went in forward, pero in actuality, sinisindak niya lang si MB tsaka si Yawi. Look at grid here. I think he will be catching Yawi yata with the yin yang overturn here. Pero sinay ko lang ni JP. Ang gagawin talaga ni JP, he will go here because the true target is H2 and Chester. So look at that. Look how will this pan out. Let me put this on slow-mo for you guys. Pa rin. So, there you go. Naglagay ng payong si Grid dito. Yun yung overturn for the 2. And what MB did, he casted his own ultimate, He casted his own ultimate pa ganito because he is afraid na pwede siya talunan ni JP. But what JP did, he's eyeing Chester and H2. And look at how JP uses the BMI here. Okay, medyo late But he's supposed to, ayan na yung ayan na yung angle niya. And there we go, there's the BMI, full combo. H2 and Chester, salong-salo nila yung Blazing Duet. There's even a point that JP, siya yung unang tinamaan ng Torre dito, and he doesn't mind. There goes Yawi. No more fatal links on that part. And that's the signal din eh. I just want to repeat, no? Bakit pwede na mag-go signal din si MB dito? Alam niya eh, na wala ng fatal links eh, si Yawi. And when Yawi actually casted that perfect match, wala nang pang re-engage dito, no? O wala nang any form of crowd control na pwedeng ibato sa kanya. Even MB has no more ultimate. And yeah, perfect decision making by JP that what may look like a super swag play na parang wow, grabe hyper carry and play, and that's heavy from JP. This is a 7-15 game that concluded, that escalated very quickly in favor of JP, and indeed nakita ni H2 yung champion form ni JP. Sobrang lakas. Now, that's what I want to emphasize, no? Kaya ako rin pinapakita yung game number 1 to really give you an idea ano yung nakita ng NXP dito kila JP. And then what we have is we got game number 2. The game number 2 draft is medyo okay naman. Although NXP, hindi ako nagdududa sa Cyclops pick, walang problema yun. Ang inaalala ko lang is bakit may Yuzong, no? Bakit merong Yuzong dito? Ba't may Yuzong ditong nakalusot? Normally, hindi mo sana gustong palusutin yung ganyang klaseng mga picks, no? And, ayun lang. I can have that feel na parang nag-autopilot yata yung NXP doon sa first set of bans dito. Kasi you really don't want to give Yuzong onto any seasoned side laner. Diba? Hindi, parang si Lina Yuzong talaga dapat insta-ban yan. And, yeah, game number 2, I won't show so much on game number 2, but I will show to you yung mga kakaiba ko na obserbahan sa game number 2. And one is, para sa akin kakaiba to, one is H2's mistake, no? Hindi basta-basta nagkakamali si H2 ng ganyan. So, it happened here, honestly. Kung di ako nagkakamali, no? Ayan. So, I think aakyat yata dito si ano. Ayan. So, what happened here is, of course, nagkaroon ng engagement si Rene J and Greed. Then, H2 responded here, knowing na nandito yung Yuzong, no? And maybe because Grid is a good target, maybe he can duel with the Hilda. Pero this is very rare of H2. Hindi siya basta-basta gaganyan din. So, this is what happened. Normally, it takes a lot of effort to kill H2. But on this one, it's just a single dive from Renzo, and he went all in towards H2, no? Nagamit niya rin yung traceless niya. And just like that, you don't see that easily onto H2. And yeah, game 2 guys, it ended quite quickly, quite one-sided coming in from that game number 1. At doon ko naramdaman na naapektuhan na nga yung NXP mula doon sa nakita nila siguro sa game number 1. Cause ang hirap especially on the fact na pumapasok sa isip ng NXP dito, pwede silang 2-0 ng aura, especially on the performance that was shown by JP there. And yeah, it concluded, no? So, ayun, kita nyo, sobrang ikli lang ng game number 2. Game number 2, guys, I just want to share to you pa pala kung gaano ka-ikli yun. It concluded at an 11 minute. That is a relatively short time, no, for a game, especially with the meta that we have right now. Now, ang gusto kong banggitin is, so nakita nyo yung game number 1. It was close. And bago nagsimula yung game number 1, liyamado doon yung NXP. Na to mention na sumasayaw pa yung NXP doon sa player camera nila. Pero, ayun si JP parang serious block talaga si JP doon He really took a champion form on that Claude. And even us, casters, we are doubting that Claude kasi ang tagal namin hindi nakita kay JP yon. And, iba yung pinakita ni JP doon. Kasi what makes a good carry is actually consistency talaga. Pag ikaw carry ka at consistent ka nakaka-farm, hindi ka basta-basta namamatay, you're already a good carry. Pero we are speaking of MPL, we are speaking of pro players na. And pro players, akala nyo parang may standard yan, may certain level. No, pro players is actually, going outside of what is expected. Going outside and beyond of what is expected from you. We didn't expect so much on JP. We'd expect him to pop off, but not like this. That is crazy. 'Di ba? On that Claude. Now, finally, gusto ko ipakita sa inyo kung gaano ka na-impact, no? Gaano ka-impactful yung performance ni JP sa NXP mula sa game number 1 going into game number 2. I don't expect this, no? So, this is the post-game ng game number 1 and game number 2. So, what we have here is the game number 1. Ito ang game number 1. This is the game number 2 stat. Nakaship lang sila. Tingnan nyo mabuti ito, no? Sige, alisin ko muna para mas madali maintindihan. Tingnan nyo mabuti yung game number 1 stat. So, this is the game number 1 stat. Things are pretty even, I would dare say. 'Di ba? Things are pretty even. Actually, kung lalakihan pa natin yan, kung nakikita nyo mabuti, guys, ang damage na dinil ni H2 is around 85,000 yata. Yeah, 85,000. The damage dealt by JP is 45,000. Right? Of course, marami yung na-absorb na damage dito nila Rafflesia. Pero ganun din naman si Yawi dito. But of course, Rafflesia has only 1 death and Yawi has 4 deaths, no? So, yun din yung pagbabantay sa... Marami ka nga na-receive na damage pero namatay ka ba o hindi. Ganun yung pag-gauge ng magandang tank. Maganda yung performance dito ng NXP. There are really good efforts from NXP here. Siguro merong lapses lang sa side ni Yawi. Pero may mga labang kasi na kaya kayo nanalo kasi mahina yung kalaban. Pero ito, I don't think so. Kaya nananalo yung Aura is not because NXP was playing bad. It's because Aura and specifically JP was playing good. He was indeed a god carry on this form, on this game. Then what we have is game number 2. I don't think after seeing game number 1, makakasayo ka pa. And you got game number 2. And this is not normal for NXP, no? So, let me just add a whiteboard here. No? So, for this game number 2, guys, look at this. Look at the runnings. Not just the running score. I want you guys to look here. Nakikita niyan, walang yellow bar. No yellow bars, no? So, no yellow bars here. That means there's little to no damage yatang nagawa pagdating sa Torre. That's not normal for NXP. Hindi yan normal for NXP. That is below our expectations for NXP. And our expectations are warranted because I'm just basing it on stats, diba? And I cannot but feel na itong game number 1 na to, lalo na tong kay JP, itong Claude ni JP is very impacting of the result here. No? This is doon ko na naramdaman na parang may lapse na or nawalan ng puwersa yung paglalaro ng NXP by game number 2. And I cannot but feel it's because of the idea of getting another loss on the week, because of the execration match, and because of JP showing himself like a god farm. It's like a very big greeting, a true greeting ni JP kay H2 na welcome sa MPL, 'di ba? And the thing here is, itong laban na to ng Aura at saka NXP, this is the debut of H2O touching number 1 in the KDA, no? First, 'di ba? But what JP showed is God mode. Kaibigan. He went God mode on that running game. That's the big difference, and that's why there are great carries indeed para H2 and there are God carries to JP. Akala ko nalipasan na ng panahon si JP, pero mukhang hindi pa, even with having I know naman to, this is for a different discussion, pero having a child, having a baby and everything, doing adult things and stuff, 'di ba? You might expect na baka may effect sa paglalaro niya. But maybe the effect has become more positive. Whereas H2, the best part about this guy is he is still consistent without doubt. I think he is still the number 1 on the KDA because he just died once. Guys, he just died once pa rin sa laban na yun. So, well, kung mababa yung death count mo, grabe yung impact nun sa KDA mo. Pero, if H2 takes this as a very big lesson, especially on his consistency, especially on his discipline, if yung nakita niya kay JP is magbigay ng apoy para sa kanya, para maging mas explosive pa, para malaman yung mga bagay na hindi pa niya alam at mga bagay na hindi pa sinasabi sa kanya, then H2 is bound to become one of the greatest or a god carry as well of the MPL. That's one, no? And I think yun talaga, that's what we want to mention. Anyway, for the lessons of this, ladies and gentlemen, bago tayo magtapos, again, all I want to say is that whenever you do this team play or matches, no, kapag nangyayari yung mga laban na to, I just want to remind everyone that teams, when they fight in the MPL or pro teams, they don't just play the game, nor the series, guys. They play within a group and they play within the whole season. Kaya naman, yes, yung panalo o talo from their previous games, may influence yon on their next game because you are playing within a group, you are playing within the whole season. Hindi yun yung parang ranked games lang after one game, babay na. Actually, may kita habit nga na may matututunan ka from every game. Whatever lesson was taken from a previous game, you add it to the next game. So, there's lesson, there's improvement, there is growth. And I'm really looking forward on how you will manage the NXP team, how the systems around NXP will employ that to their third week Because I really think when teams come from a loss, good teams, when they come from a loss, they have a tendency, a very strong tendency to really improve. And of course, another lesson is defeats or in-game experience, ayun na nga, they do take a toll on the players. On the mind, there is psychological toll. Tayo nga lang pag natatalo, may umay factor talaga para sa atin. It's totally valid. Even pro players, they are not immune to that. They've experienced a lot of games, their experience might be the shield for it. Pero, may mga laban talaga, maybe tulad ng NXP or Execration na laban, and even was shown here, yung naranasan nila in-game with JP on his Claude, na magkakaroon talaga ng impact sa'yo. At ayun, doon na parang nawawala yung init ng laban. These are very real things din. Nangyayari rin to sa traditional sports, mga kaibigan. Again guys, player psychology and mental capacity is what makes or break great players and what distinguishes the gods from the greats. I am Shibu Duan for an eye. Lahat ng mga manlalarong Pilipino, laban lang.